It said because of a person's laziness or not being fully involved, he doesn't study sufficiently. And because if he doesn't study sufficiently, he doesn't fully understand and comprehend what his obligation is, what it's not his obligation. He says, if it would, the evil of laziness, the effect, the consequence would stop there, for Hoysa Rabba, it would be sufficiently serious. But it goes from bad, that it goes from worse to even worse than that. So now he didn't study sufficiently. Alan, this is for you to tell the story. Relates to we once had a upsharing at Yad Avram. It says if you don't study, you don't understand. If you don't understand, so you're not able to perform properly. But it's worse than that. If a person doesn't understand, and now he approaches a pasuk in the Torah, and it's difficult, and has to reconcile things. He's going to interpret the Torah contrary to the halacha. He will destroy truth, and he'll invert it. And he'll violate, he'll transgress all the enactments. And he'll breach the fences. Why? He feels the whole thing is baseless. What the rabbis say, what the rabbi says, the way they interpret it, disagree. Once had a case. It was at Alan's upsharing, his son's upsharing, one of his children, and I met someone there, came in honor of it, and this person thinks he's a little bit of a Talmud Chacham, wealthy man, very modern to the nth degree, and then he was like in his mid-70s, and he says to me, Rabbi, I want to tell you a dvar, not a dvar Torah, a dvar. That's what he speaks. I said, I'm willing to listen. Not doing Korban something in Parshas Vayikra. So I listen, tells it to me. So evidently he studies, you know. So I said to him, but you realize the Gemara says contrary to what you're saying. And the halacha is contrary to what you're saying. He said it doesn't make a difference. But I think since it fits into the psukim, I think it's okay. I said, but you realize that statement you're making is a heretical statement. He says, I disagree. I think if the words can be interpreted that way, it's okay. So afterwards, I went over to Alan. I said, now I understand what he told me. He wants to me a dvar. Usually, person I want to a dvar Torah. I understood it had no relevance to Torah, and that's exactly what he's saying over here. The Ramchal, that ultimately, because he hasn't studied initially, never studied sufficiently, he doesn't know what's right and what's wrong, and he's able to justify his interpretation, regardless of the consequence of his interpretation. That's Megal Ponim Shetosh Lo Kalocha. V'yashchis emes v'yabcheu. He will destroy truth and he'll invert it. V'yavar al takonos. And he'll see the rabbis, the bunch of fanatics, and whatever else they may be, because he believes that he's right, they're wrong. V'sofa kloya. And ultimately, he himself will be destroyed. Kemishur koporitz getter. Omer Shlomo ve'echse anochi oshes libi. He says, when I applied my heart, his bonanti al hadover hazeh. I reflected on this. Reisi Goldel Harashabo, and I saw this degree of evil as a result of what this laziness, this laid backness caused. It's like poison, which seeps gradually and eventually it spreads slowly, but over time it overtakes the person. And the effect is not obvious until the person dies from it. V'zeu machnos. Person, I want to sleep a little bit, I want to take it easy a little bit. Before we talk about it, you missed the boat. As fast as the man who shields his king when at war. People procrastinate till they miss the opportunity, and that opportunity will never come back. The Chofetz Chaim gives emotional. He explained with an allegory. It says that this world is a prosdet to Olam Haba. It's a corridor to the world to come. So he says in Europe they had the fairs, the fairs. People go and they would spend a few weeks purchasing their inventory for the upcoming year, like the Basel Fair. It was even in the medieval times. That fair was whatever was your area of business, with textiles, stones, precious, whatever, you'd go there. People come from all over Europe, and because people came from different cultures and backgrounds, they would open restaurants with different cuisines. You know, Polish, Hungarian, Russian, whatever it was. You had every kind of restaurant you wanted. So this person, these two friends, they meet. It's about 3 days before the fair is over. And he meets her and says, so how did you do? He purchases. He says, purchases. He says, there's so many restaurants, I haven't tried out all the cuisines. So the man says, are you out of your mind? 3 days to finish. If you don't purchase your inventory for the year, your family's going to starve this coming year. You're not going to have anything to sell. How can you be so distracted? You came here for what? To try out the food? So he says, a person's put into this world for what? To try to benefit from this world. People get so distracted that they don't realize there's only a pass-through. There's the corridor. They get hung up on what? On trying out the restaurants. And then what happens? The fair's over. Once it's over, it's checkout time. Checkout time, so what did you accomplish in this life? That's the Chafetz Chaim. But what is that? Very often, it's what? It's procrastination. This time, you know, person would have time, I'll study. You may end up, that moment may never arrive. That's the procrastination. But where does procrastination emanate from? It's laziness. You don't want to apply yourself. To be continued.